Hello everyone, how are you? Okay, so I thought tonight we'd look at some Meola. I'm looking at doing some Meola style tutorials. So I thought, I dug the Les Paul out. I'm going to look at the Elegant Gypsy, the title track from the Elegant Gypsy album, because there's a lot in it, a fair bit to unpack. There's like a few different styles, and there's some technical things to unpack from there as well, which as we move on, you'll see. There's some grounding in that track which will help us along the way. So yes, so I mean, it's famous for using Les Pauls and Marshalls, but I'm using a Katana. I'm on the brown setting with the gain on around sort of 10 o'clock. So it's not massively saturated with gain, but it's it's there. It just gives it that sort of old sort of Marshally type sound. This guitar's got Dimarzio super distortions in it as well. It helps with a shorter scale guitar as well, like with like with sort of Gibson scale, because it helps with some of the stretches too. But just see how we go on. Okay, so it starts out like there's a bit of acoustic guitar. It's like pastiching like flamenco music, but it sort of seems to be based across like an A minor, and perhaps moving to a G. So at the moment I put it on bridge pickup. I'll use a lot on mid, like the mid setting. But for clarity, I'm just using the bridge, using a little punch. If you add the volume pot as well, get used to doing that. Then you'll get like a sort of whole range of like dynamics from your playing and from the guitar as well. So that's the first part. And then that continues for a little while, just to build up the atmosphere. So get used to doing that. If you're not used to playing this style, then that'll really help. And Al's famous for like palm muting as well. And then that big, yep. So that puts it in in like an E Phrygian dominant kind of thing. And then the main intro, well, lick, melody. So that's that. Yeah, so just want to give you that. And then we're going to go. Now this is something else I wanted to unpack here as well, because it's I mean, you could play it here, but it's a bit bunched. It's a bit crammed there. But when even though the song's titled Elegant Gypsy, I'm getting a lot of like sort of Django Reinhardt coming through, because like famously Django only had like 2 fingers on his left hand. So he could play it like that. It's sort of very sort of like a Django style lick, but within that sort of Phrygian dominant pattern. You see what I mean? But for efficiency, if you use like the rest of your hand, sorry, the rest of your fingers, beg your pardon. I'm not sure how old you are, or whether you've seen any like reruns and things. I always think of that section. You know, when remember Charlie's Angels, whenever that used to cut to adverts, or there used to be like the little little sting, the little sort of insert between where they were like joining two scenes together, and they had like the three angels together. I always think that reminds me of that. Yeah, and then on the second time. So that's just the same pattern, but move. And then it's sort of like, it goes into a bit more improvisation, and I mean, you'll find this a lot like with those, you know, those old jazz rock fusion records, that they sort of like, it's partly structured, but it's also like partly improvised. You know, it just seems to be the thing in those days, where, you know, you'd have like the core of, you have the core of the tune, and then as the band actually sort of started to warm up and get into it, then they'd be sort of improvising between themselves, and then just sort of, you know, just build the thing up. So so I hope you got something out of that. I think we're going to leave that for today, because I don't want to get too complicated at this stage, because this is only like the first of these, but. You know, it's when you start getting into that those Phrygian dominant patterns. Yeah, that's probably a personal favourite. That yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Hope you got something out of this. Please comment below. If there's a particular tune you want me to look at, yeah, mention that. Yeah, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Right, thanks for watching.